Good evening. The October 22nd, 2012 meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee is now called to order. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Chairwoman Boyce.
Here.
Ms. Cayley.
Here.
Mr. McCann.
Here.
Mr. Rocco.
Here.
Mr. Wilcox.
Here.
Thank you. I see we have some guests in the audience. I know, I just wondered if it was an organization or a group that was here. Okay.
Be happy to inform the chair about our guests here.
Okay.
These are my students from our team.
Oh.
We have students from SID and here to serve what's happening.
Great. Okay. Is there anybody signed up for public forum?
Yes.
Okay.
When I call your name, please come forward to the podium. You'll have 2 minutes and only 2 minutes in which to address the committee. Please conclude when the buzzer sounds. Our only speaker is Tom Gregory.
Hi, Mr. Gregory.
On this question, I'd like to speak on, I wish I had more than 2 minutes, because I'm a pro-hydrofracking person, and I'm speaking in opposition to the moratorium that is being proposed from the minority side. You know, I took today down to the appellate court, and I decided to make an entry in PFD, which is what I started, hydrofracking, because I want to get rid of all that other stuff, that clutter where people are putting their opinions in. And I found a lot of really good studies. And a lot of those studies were done by the state and federal government. And a lot of them are saying, yeah, you know, there are some problems. But one of the things I'll say as a citizen is I really trust government. I think government's got the expertise. I think government's got the engineering staff. I think government's got the regulatory power. And government has all the tools that government needs to have to make what might be a dangerous problem into something that's safe and usable for all of us. Maybe most of you don't realize that back Mobil Oil, Exxon, guess where it got started? Right over in a corner of Monroe Avenue and Goodman Street under the name called Vacuum Oil Company. And if you ever want to look in the old maps net there, you'll find that Vacuum Oil moved down to right Exchange Street Extension. And that, my friends, is our legacy. Oil began right here. And right now, we're sitting on top of a resource in the Marcellus Shale that basically is phenomenal. And I know we heard a lot of conversation, a lot of talk at the last legislative meeting that basically said, well, it can't be done for these and these reasons. But I think we've got the capability, the engineering capability, and the technical expertise that we don't have to have a moratorium. All we have to do is just trust ourselves, as well as trust those agencies a little bit bigger than county government, to do their job. Because from my research today, just one day, I'm not an expert on hydrofracking, but one day of research, I saw there's a lot of interest out there, a lot of people who see the potential in hydrofracking and also see the problems. And I'll tell you what, they all seem like they're pro-hydrofrac to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the committee? Seeing none other, public forum is closed. Approval of the minute. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. You have the September 24th, 2012 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. New business. The next item on the agenda is new business.
Referral 12-283 to require a 2/3 vote to incorporate a local development corporation.
Moved by Legislator Cayley, seconded by Mr. Cox. Okay. Would you like to speak, Ms. Cayley? I actually would, if
No, I'm sorry. We're going to recognize that she was here, and I didn't hear anything from you, so I was going to.
I always recognize people when they're here.
No, verbally, didn't
her
hear
earlier.
it. Didn't hear it.
I'm very gracious like that.
Thank you.
Yes, I would like to recognize the maker of the motion, Ms. Aldersley, I can't.
Thank you very much, Mrs.
Welcome.
For providing me with the opportunity to address my proposal this evening.
The legislation before the committee will heighten oversight of the LDC creation process by enacting a local law that will require a 2/3 vote of the Monroe County Legislature to authorize the creation of a county LDC. Currently, we do not have legislative oversight when it comes to the creation of an LDC. And I believe we need to be very careful when contemplating the use of an LDC when we need one to further county objectives. LDCs remove the responsibility of elected officials. We've heard a lot from Mr. Romney about the board that's going to run Obamacare, that it's going to be unelected officials, and I think people expect to have elected officials oversee the workings of government. And when we form an LDC, we delegate the responsibility to an unelected and therefore less publicly accountable LDC Board of Directors. Currently, the practice of borrowing the costs of county projects through bonding takes a 2/3 vote of the legislature. That is a recognition of the caution, scrutiny, and deliberation that should occur before committing the county to long-term indebtedness. No less stringent a requirement should be in place for creation of an LDC, which, as in the case of the Public Safety Communication LDC known as M3S, can, once created, issue its own bonded indebtedness and circumvent the requirement for the 2/3 vote in the legislature. And this takes the bonding decisions away from legislative oversight. The benefits of creating an LDC have to be absolutely clear, and certainly an LDC should never be used to circumvent the oversight of the county legislature. And I urge all my colleagues to cherish your responsibility and cherish your oversight. Don't give it away easily. I'm not saying that all LDCs are necessarily bad all the time, and there certainly will be times when both sides of the aisle agree an LDC would be a good thing to do, but the current process needs reform. Reining in the unrestrained use of quasi-governmental entities such as public authorities and local development corporations to carry out governmental functions will go a long way towards injecting a much-needed dose of accountability into governmental operations. And we all talk about accountability all the time, and this is one way to be more accountable, I believe. And I urge my colleagues on this committee to vote in favor of sending this proposal to the full legislature for further consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stamps.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question, frankly, as to whether this referral is something that's under our purview, and I would like to make a motion to table this referral so we can get an opinion from the county attorney as to whether or not this is something that falls within our purview.
I'd like to second that.
So we'll move to table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. No. Okay. I'm in favor, so we're gonna, I don't want to do something that may come back to bite us, so, Mr. Helper, Stephen Smith is here. Is this something that we can look into and get back to the committee for an answer?
Madam Chair, we could certainly, the law department would be glad to do that review. I would say maximum of 2 cycles, hopefully within 1, but certainly 2 maximum. We could report back to the committee.
I recognize you, but the motion's been tabled, so there's no discussion. Yeah.
Would we consider perhaps a motion to get the Attorney General's opinion?
You can do whatever you want, I guess, on the side, but that's, you know.
I'd like to make that motion then.
I don't think that's anything that we would do
Can we ask that the law department get an opinion from the Attorney General then?
Sure, we can't speak for the county attorney. That would be something we would have to consult with him on.
Okay, so you would talk to me, okay, thank you. Is there any other further business on the agenda?
Oh, no, that's it.
Okay. So, our agenda charter committee is now finished, and our next meeting would be, October 22nd.
Oh,
No,
November
I'm sorry, November 26th. All right, that's